In a time of platformers not having the status they once did during the 90s and early 2000s, Gears for Breakfast sought to reinvigorate the genre and start a successful Kickstarter campaign. That game is definitely not Yuka and Lily, a game I'll eventually get to, but something on a smaller scale that is loved by those who play it. Hey guys, Jehuty here, and I just played A Hat in Time, plus all its DLC on PS4, a Jehuty Gaming review. As the two DLCs seal the deal and Nyakuza Metro finally have come to PlayStation and Xbox consoles after over 2 years, I had an excuse to revisit this game. Please enjoy my review.
Well, well, well. Look what the cat dragged in.
A Hat in Time is a 3D platformer in the style of the classic 90s past. Is it a AAA title that brings high production values to an almost bygone type of game? Is it a title that reinvents the platformer as a genre? Is it going to influence the industry and bring back the platformer in full swing? No to all of the above, but it's got heart, and in many cases that shines so bright that I'm able to overlook its flaws. The context of the game is that you, as Hat Kid, are traveling through space on your way home. Whilst passing a planet, a representative of the Mafia demands a toll. Hat Kid refuses this and closes the glass door. The Mafia then slams through, and the resulting vacuum sucks out all the timepieces and scatters them on the planet. The timepieces function as a fuel source for Hat Kid's spaceship, and the spaceship also doubles as a hub world that links all the other worlds together. The first world, Mafia Town, acts as an introduction where you also collect your first timepiece, which is the game's main collectible that unlocks more levels and worlds. As you fight the Mafia and explore, you also come across these green collectibles known as spawns. You use these as a currency to buy things within the game, such as badges that slightly change your experience. The first world is simple enough, and its main job is to ease you into the game. You also meet your first character here, that is Mustache Girl, who is a rebel kid that is fighting the Mafia. Overall, this world feels a bit restrictive, but once you get more abilities and come back here, this world opens up more and you appreciate it for it.
Are you ready to take down some Mafia? Let's do it! I'm psyched!
Speaking of abilities, Hat Kid can at first only jump. She gets an umbrella in the first level that becomes her melee attack. Controls are good, albeit not as tight as Mario or Rayman, but good enough for the job. Later on, you can stitch new hats together by collecting yarn. Your basic hat helps you find points of interest, a kind of wayfinder. The one you also get early on in the game helps you to sprint, and this is the one I mainly use to get around more quickly. You also get an ice hat to turn yourself into an ice statue, a witch hat you can then also use to throw concoctions at enemies. There are two more that I won't spoil here. The second world to me was interesting in its ideas but lacked in its execution. You have two bird groups trying to win an annual award, and you assist both of them. This leads to you having very different experiences on both sides. However, they aren't always that interesting to play. Get ready to play Murder on Owl Express a couple of times if you collect achievements/trophies. It's not bad, some of it is even very good, like the sprinting through the train that's coming apart section. But to me, as soon as the third world was available, I left to come back later. The third world of the base game to me is the best of the bunch. It's open, but not too open. It expands as you help the fox women commit suicide by collecting paintings so they can go by fire.
We want to die! Yay!
It contains an additional smaller boss fight that is no less interesting than previous ones. It has a Luigi Mansion style horror section that is unnervingly effective, and lastly it introduces my favorite character of them all in this game, Snatcher. This guy tricks Hat Kid into fulfilling contracts to get her soul back. This then doubles as a reason to explore, plus a good storytelling element to understand the forest world. This guy is just a blast to watch and listen to, especially when overcoming him in his boss fight. Boss battles are good for the most part. Having a game make me jump and dodge my way to victory whilst learning patterns is something I haven't had in a while, making it a fresh experience for me. It also helps that the music in these sections is mostly catchy and underlines the action well. Speaking of music, the soundtrack is good with some standouts that will stay with you well beyond finishing the game. Time rifts are the last form of levels. They are mostly distorted spaces that you have to navigate whilst jumping to get a timepiece at the end. They are few, so they are welcome, whilst having some nice soothing music to go along with them. Some of these sections even give more info on the lore of characters and the world if you look deep enough. Overall, with the base game, apart from some small difficulty spikes that can occur when you don't exactly understand how to proceed, A Hat in Time isn't too challenging. To me, it was rather easy. You will still die a couple of times, but for the most part the checkpoint system is quite generous. As much as I like the game, I still have to talk about some of the technical problems. So the game in its current state as of this review is version 1.02 on consoles. It's been changed in certain ways. Personally, I think it looks better, but people have already pointed out that the shadows have been switched for a simpler solution. Maybe it's because those simpler shadows suit a game that is aesthetically simple more, or I'm just viewing things through rose-tinted glasses. The latter is more likely. No matter what platform you play on, this game isn't that well optimized. I played on a PS4 Pro in the new 60Hz mode. By default it's on the 30Hz mode, so you'll have to switch if you want that mode. No matter which mode you choose, however, you'll be getting frame drops, depending on what's happening on screen at once, or when traversing the world a bit too much, such as using the iSat as a catapult to move over vast spaces quickly. Snatcher's Mouth? I don't quite know what's going on here since the patch. There are some people having save file issues as well, and there are also PS5 and Series X performance problems being reported. I myself have had only small problems, such as getting stuck in an object or on a wall more than twice. Maybe we'll get a patch to fix some of these issues, but don't forget Gears for Breakfast isn't a AAA studio with a lot of resources, and the game has a budget price. I see these as minor annoyances that don't take much away from the game as a whole. We got 2 major DLCs to expand the Hat in Time experience, which seamlessly integrate into the hub world. The first one is the Seal the Deal DLC, and this gives you a new vacation cruise liner ship to explore, provided you have collected 35 timepieces to access it. What's impressive here is how densely packed the environments are. It really makes the place feel alive, more so than the base game's worlds. It also helps that this world is built up differently by being more vertical and compact, having you memorize the little additional pathways within the ship to move around faster between rooms. You are of course looking for timepieces, but you also be working for the captain, because his employee seals are useless. This walrus is so badass that he smokes 2 cigarettes at any given time at once. Hashtag cigarettes can kill. You'll be doing laundry, delivering orders, and taking out the trash. Ultimately, this DLC felt too short for me. It doesn't help that it didn't even have a boss fight, and this left me kind of disappointed. I previously mentioned that the game can feel a bit too easy for most parts. Ever wished it was harder? Well, Death Wish is the second addition to this DLC. When you achieve 27 timepieces, Snatcher moves into your bedroom and gives you a new contract. What this is are 111 hard new challenges that repurpose old mission and environments. They also include a boss rush mode with harder boss variants. The challenges are very varied and really get you having this feeling of, let me try just one more time. Did I mention this mode was hard? Yep, it sure is, and you'll die a ton of times. I hope you aren't prone to throw your controller when annoyed, or you'll go through a bunch of them in this mode.
We wouldn't want you to die on the job, right?
The Nyakuza Metro DLC is what I've been looking forward to play for a very long time. This DLC really showcases how far the studio has come. There's a lot of details, even more than the Arctic Cruise Line level, but even on a bigger scale. Lighting is the real star of the show here. Doesn't matter if it's just the neon lights that reflect on the ground or just how good Hat Kid's new outfit looks like. As you search for timepieces in the metro, the level also expands as you purchase metro tickets to access more of it, kinda like subways in real life. You also have a ton of NPCs you can interact with. You can just talk to get information or buy stuff from them, such as food or new clothes. The animations on display here are also a huge leap compared to the base game. The Empress has very expressive facial and body movements that nothing from the base game or the previous DLC can match. The camera cutting and framework in cutscenes are also a huge bump up. This really gets me excited for whatever Gears for Breakfast do as their next project. Unfortunately, the boss fight at the end of it is a bit of a letdown for the DLC, but I'll give the devs props for trying something different. The end also indirectly hints at more content related to the Metro, maybe a sequel, who knows. Now the 50-player multiplayer didn't make the cut as it uses Steam's API on PC. I'm not too bothered by this honestly, as I was always looking at this game as a single player experience. For some this may be disappointing. 2-player offline co-op does make the cut, with the second player taking control of BoKid. However, unlike the PC version, it isn't split screen. You share the same screen and player 2 is constrained to moving only where player 1 can see. If Hatkit moves too far away, then BoKid teleports to her. Not an ideal solution for consoles.
Thank you for kissing my ouchie, miss.
Overall, A Hat in Time is a good game with some small flaws that you'll be willing to overlook because the game clearly has a lot of heart put into it by the devs. With the DLC finally making its way to consoles, everybody should give these a chance if you're returning to the game, and give the game a chance as a full package if you haven't yet. It may surprise you. A Hat in Time is available on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. This is your boy Jehuty. If you liked the video, leave a like. Of course, consider sharing and subscribing. And this is your boy Jehuty, and I'll see you on the next I Just Played review.